You have just opened the door to podcast 153. Let's start this podcast in the bathroom.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome, everyone. I just want to say that I love you guys. Everybody listening right now, I imagine you as I do these podcasts. And I do want to say one more time that my genius, my superpower has always been in teaching and in collecting information and then distilling that down in a format there that others can use because they're very busy doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. And so that's how I see my mission. When I explain a topic or cover a podcast, I don't arrogantly think, oh, I know something. I think, man, I was able to go get this information, experiment with it, prove it out, and give it to these wonderful folks out here. So I hope you are doing well. And I just want to say that if we keep doing this, and if we keep learning from each other, if we keep sharing, if we keep connecting the construction industry, there's no telling how far we can go. And so I'm super excited. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking the content. Thank you for rating the podcast. And thank you for actually texting other people and getting them hooked on specific episodes. It's absolutely amazing. So our topic for today that we're going to cover is about bathrooms. Now, why is this important? And let me tell you, I did a proposal for a client just the other day, and we were talking about the key things that needed to be done to create operational excellence on the project. And the list was not complete until we said we have to have remarkable facilities. And we have to have remarkable bathrooms for the craft. Because in no way, shape, or form can we go win them over, get them on board, and have total participation until we have basic fundamental systems of respect on the project site. And that's why I love the definition that I have of lean and lean systems, which is first respect for people, and then stable environments, and then continuous improvement, because we can't continuously improve anything until we have a stable environment, and we can't have stable environments or achieve them until we espouse respect for people and set up those types of systems. So bathrooms are the key. Tell me that you don't judge a restaurant by the quality of their bathrooms. Tell me that you don't judge a place of business by the quality of their bathrooms. Tell me that you don't cringe when you have to go to a public bathroom inside of maybe it is a restaurant, or maybe it's a corner convenience store or a gas station. Tell me you don't cringe and that it doesn't shape the way you feel about that entire establishment. Tell me that the way we keep our bathrooms, especially if you have kids, isn't an indicator of how the children and the family will care for the rest of the house. And if you tell me that, I'd say you're probably mistaken and you're not paying attention, because at least in my house, however the bathroom goes, so goes the house. And on a project site, however the bathroom goes, so goes the project. And that's true everywhere I've gone. And so let me kick off this podcast with my normal routine, which I don't consider routine. It's actually pretty fun for me. But what am I excited about in life? Well, I've found a couple of instances where customers would pay for nice bathrooms. And I'm not talking about the overpriced, inflated, self-aggrandizing bathroom trailers that cost an arm and a leg and don't provide very much service. I'm talking about, could we one day, and this is my dream, to start a business where we are able to provide inexpensive but remarkable bathrooms for workers and make it cost effective. Whether that means temporary partitions inside of a temporary tent structure, or actually welding these things and modifying an actual Connex box and making it to where the plumbing is easily hooked up, or building them out of wood and just having it contracted out locally wherever this area is. I mean, I just really think that one day there's got to be a sustainable way to run a business where contractors can easily ask for, request, and pay for a service that would respect our craft, our workers, and our foremen out there in the field. So I'm excited about that. I've been thinking about it. I've got a couple of designs through my influence, which is very little, compared to every one of you who are listening. I know of at least 15 different projects that have built custom bathrooms, built out trailers, built out connexes, or done something nice for people. And that makes me happy in my heart. Before I die, I want all restrooms in construction switched out to something that's respectful for our workers. So that's the topic that we're going to cover today. Before I start that, here's some feedback from one of our listeners. So here we go. Hi, Jason. I'm a fan of your podcast, and I've been working on improving my pole planning process. I work for blank, where you... No, I'm not going to tell you that. But anyway, I work for blank, and I would like to see if you can share some templates of sticky notes for pole planning and any other information if possible. Now, let me tell you this. If you need help, and I'm going to help this person that reached out, if you need help on sticky format process, actual process and rules for the pole planning, for anything like that, let me know. There are some really neat techniques that I've been able to refine for pole planning in design and in construction. I will say for both of them, one of the biggest things that I found is homework. If you're not having your designers or your construction professionals prepare with homework for the pole plan, then they're probably not as effective and as fun as they could be for you. So if you need any help with these things, let me know, reach out. I'm going to help this individual, but I really appreciate the positive feedback and that you're a fan for you who wrote that positive, nice note. That really makes my day. It makes this all worth it. So one other thing that I want to continually talk about is how is the construction industry changing right now? Here are a couple of thoughts. I've heard very recently that in some of the northern states, not the coastal states, but some of the northern states, lean and pole planning and last planner and things like that have not been implemented as much as I think they have in the coastal cities. And that was news to me. So I'm happy to hear that there are concepts like field engineering and IPD and lean and last planner that are being adopted in the central and northern states. So that's one trend that I'm seeing that I'm really happy about. And if you're in any of those areas, reach out to people for some facilitation and get it going, because it's quite remarkable and you'll never go back. Another thing is that there are things like IPD and lean projects and phased design packages, things like that, phased design that are being adopted in construction. And right now, one of the things that I'm seeing is that it is effective in the speed to market, but right now, the design isn't any more complete than it ever has been. And so if there are construction professionals out there that continually complain about the drawings not being good enough or not being complete like they used to be, or there being a ton of RFIs and things like that, yes, these are key indicators of a possible failed project, but we in construction are going to have to get better at dealing with it, whether it means partnering in design together at getting a better design and a model that's checked better and a single model, or whether that means that once we have the design that we are better able to react and quickly buy out the project, vet the project, and get it vetted to where we have all of the proper information for our field folks. So I do want to say that, I don't think it's the designer's fault entirely when they don't have completed design, when owners are asking them to get it done faster and faster and paying them for less and less of the work. So we, on the construction, on the contractor side, need to get better at absorbing that or partnering with them or fixing that through design so that we can be the masters of our own destiny. And like I said, the most recent project where we tried this on a pharmacy project, the project manager was fantastic in doing model checks throughout the design and having a coordination process that by the time we got to construction, when we had an NTP, we had as near a perfect set of drawings as I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's because we leveraged technology, integrated project delivery methodologies, and we worked together. Instead of complaining about it, we worked together and we aimed with a very knowing and knowledgeable and proficient owner. We were able to aim towards an outcome where it was a win-win situation and we had the speed to market there. So that's another trend that I'm seeing. I hope that helps. So here's some conflict for us today. How your bathroom goes on site is the way your project will go. So I've already told you about the story at the research laboratory where we built custom bathrooms inside of a 3-wide trailer with the lunchroom. And it was fantastic. So what we did is we got the 8-wide trailer for the price of a 5-wide. And we told them, hey, we're going to gut this out. We're going to soundproof the outer walls so there's no smells and sounds that can come past there. We're going to drill holes in the floor. We're going to rough in plumbing. We're going to install toilets and urinals and sinks, and we're going to basically build this out, and then we'll have to repair it at the end. So we had to budget that in. So that was one consideration. But what we did is we built really nice stalls. We had music in there. We had 3 sinks, trash cans around the sinks. We had shelving. We had urinals on the wall, one for that was a little bit shorter in case there were children or little people. We had signage. We had extra supplies. We had very, very nice stalls, and we painted everything white. It was a really nice white epoxy paint. And in the stalls, we had plungers and the little toilet brushes and all the cleaning supplies, everything that they would need. And we added, like I said, music later with speakers so that people didn't have to hear each other doing business. And we added hooks and a place for them to put their tools when they went in. And we added some other shelving, and we leaned out the trash cans on the sides of the sinks so that the paper towels wouldn't fall and hit the floor. It would just, once they were done, it would fall between the sinks and go into the trash can. And it was really quite remarkable. So that worked out so well, and that culture from the bathroom transferred so well to the project site that I became committed to doing it everywhere I was able to do it. And I have a lean video on YouTube that I can also share with this podcast that shows visually how we did it. If you're interested in that, please reach out to me. Because the principle is that every master builder should scrutinize the bathrooms and should have that be their primary focus. Anytime I go out in the field, the first thing I do, even if I'm with a group or with the owner, I check the bathrooms. Because the condition of the bathrooms is a key indicator or the pulse or a sign of the morale and health of the project site. But it also reflects how workers feel about the leadership on the site and the project site, and how they should feel about themselves and how they should feel about the project. The state of the bathrooms will tell you the state of basically everything. And it should be the first focus for field respect, field conditions out there on the site. And so Paul Akers also encourages us to implement lean systems in the bathroom for cleanliness, self-sufficiency, and to make sure that team members respect each other and respect their workplace. And he argues that cultures always start in the bathroom, and I 100% agree. In his facility, the workers will clean the bathrooms themselves on a rotation. And likewise, in construction, the state of our bathrooms, whether they're portable bathrooms or inside or in the trailer or wherever, help create our culture and the culture of respect that people have for each other and for the job. So lean starts in the bathroom. So what I wanted to do today is to really help out by going through a podcast and giving ourselves options so that we don't naturally get frustrated and maybe give up. Because this is one of the single most important things you can do, this and the morning worker huddle, to win over your workers, to create respect, which will then allow you to create stability, which will then allow you to continuously improve on the project and win that next project and delight your owners. So, couple things. If you have to use Portapotties, here are a couple things that you need to know. Keep them 6 feet apart during COVID-19. That's number 1. Number 2, you can't have them cleaned any less than twice a week. And I would say just bite the bullet and have them cleaned 3 times a week. And in a lot of my jobs, I just have them cleaned every day. And why would that be the case? Would it be okay just twice in a week to go into a dirty, disgusting bathroom? No. Is the 20 grand that you're going to spend having it cleaned every day worth it, or the 40 grand? 100%. Absolutely. And I'm not making light of this because I hate quality problems and I hate rework, but we're going to blow 40 grand on that first wall that we have to rip out because we have disgruntled workers that aren't bought into the system. Let's actually spend the money knowing that we are doing the right thing for our workers, because it's just unacceptable when it doesn't happen. And I've told you this story a million times over, and I kind of hope the person that did this remembers who he is and is a little bit ashamed. But I was in Florida one time walking with a super, and we were walking out there looking at the condition of the site, and he was explaining things. It was a mega project, and a worker came up and kind of tugged him on the shoulder and was like, "Hey, boss, just so you know, the bathrooms don't have any toilet paper right now. We're ripping off pieces of clothing to go to the restroom, and so we need to get that fixed." And the superintendent, I poop you not, just kidding. Anyway, I cuss word you not. He literally looked over and was like, "Okay, I'll look into it." And then turned back to me like we were going to start walking. And I'm like, whoa, time out. We need to go to Walmart. We need to go to Home Depot. We need to go do something now for these workers. That's ridiculous. But it was okay for him that he had all of his worker slaves over here working without proper conditions, like literally pooping and not being able to wipe their own butts and not even wash their hands, and he was okay with that. And that proves that we have disrespect in construction and that we treat our workers like they're slaves, and they're not slaves. This is ridiculous. So we have to do better than this. And one of the first principles is that a worker should have a clean bathroom, whether that's twice, 3 times, or 5 times a week, having them cleaned, okay? Extra toilet paper in case it runs out, and they have to have a place to wash their hands. Now, I remember in 2001, basically hearing about hand wash stations and being the tough, gruff construction guy being like, rah, 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 people don't need that. What's this world coming to? I was wrong, man. Like, there's nothing worse than going to the restroom and then coming out not being able to wash hands. Now, check this out. Half of the people won't wash their hands. And then people are like, why do I have a hand wash station over there if they're not going to wash their hands? Fair point. What about the half that do? Even if only one person washed their hands, that hand wash station is worth it. And with COVID-19, we know that we need to start doing that, and we're never going to turn the tide to where 100% of the people wash their hands until we get to a point where we have hand wash stations available in the first place. So we have to get this fixed. So they need to be clean if they're portables, and we need to have hand wash stations and trash cans, and they need to be accessible to people. That's the bare minimum. And if you have cold weather conditions, you might need to get a little tent with a heater to keep that water to where it doesn't freeze, or pull it inside the building and make sure that you have portable restrooms that are at least warm enough to where they can use the restroom and to where they can wash their hands. So that's the bare minimum. And if you have portable restrooms and hand wash stations in the heat, you might need to cover it so that it goes from like the 120 degrees to like 85, 90 degrees, so that people don't sweat themselves out in these bathrooms, in these portable facilities, and so that they can wash their hands and the water's not too hot. So those are the basic bare minimum requirements, okay? And so what I want to say is that the better option would be that you build them out of your trailer complex, or that you build them in the building, or that you build a facility standalone, or that you bring out something like the larger event restrooms, or that you actually have those bathroom company trailers come out. But here's the vision, and I'll go through these one at a time. Building them out of your trailer complex, out of a double-wide trailer, is not as hard as you might think, as long as you can fit it into the budget. Now, a couple of things that I would strongly recommend. You got to have music, and you got to paint the walls white, and you have to have supplies in there so that they can take care of things themselves. You have to have it cleaned daily, and I would highly recommend that the management team use the same bathrooms as the workers so it becomes a common core culture, meaning everybody has proximity, using the same bathrooms, same conditions, and we can notice problems immediately. So I would very much recommend that you consider building them out of your trailers if you can get 1 or 2 extra trailers for the same price as what you would have bought like a 3 or a 4 or 5 wide trailer. Also, you can build them as standalone. Let's get creative, right? Why not pour a little slab with some underground plumbing, either get it pumped out or actually connect it to the sewer line, and just build a wooden complex that's insulated, right, so that we have cooling and heating when we need, and then have really remarkable lighting on the inside. In addition to painting them white, you need to have really, really remarkable lighting in there, and have it be where there's a fart fan and some AC to where it's comfortable. And that is the key to removing graffiti. Having nice signage, putting a sign out front that tells them, hey, we respect these bathrooms, having the morning huddles where we talk about how to respect the bathrooms, having them painted white, and really good lighting is the key. There's nothing worse than going into a dark dungeon to go to the restroom. So we can even get creative, pour a slab, go build them out of wood. You can pay a contractor, $1,500 to go build a wooden facility plus the materials, right? You're probably talking all in $7,000 to do this, to paint it white, to get everything in there that you need, and to get it all fitted out on the project site. And then why not just destroy it? And if you're wondering how to actually get it done, call it a part of your mock-up. We spend, unless you have field verified where they do the mock-up for like 1/10 of the cost at their facility, most of us spend like $100,000, $150,000 on our mock-ups, and we have to rip that thing out and demo it out and put it on our site. Why not build some bathrooms? Or, hey, better yet, why not have the bathrooms, this is a joke, but have the bathrooms inside your mock-up. But hey, we can find a way to pay for it. We just need to take the time and get creative about it, okay? So that's one option. If you can't build them out of your trailers, then actually build a standalone situation out there. Then there's another one where you can actually order the wider event restrooms that have hand wash in there, that have enough space, that are custom tailored to a better working condition inside the actual portable restrooms. And one of these days, I'm actually going to design, I will do this, even if I don't have my own company manufacturing them. I'm going to design a respectable mobile unit that will take care of workers, give them plenty of space, have the kind of walls that are needed to where they can wash their hands, where they can do their business, and where it's easy to clean up. Anything that we do has to be easy to clean up. That's why I like the regular toilets. Okay, so let's go to the next one. If you can, why not build the bathrooms in the building? I have been the most successful with this. So if you have a large building, a long building, a tall high-rise building, having bathrooms throughout that high-rise is a fantastic idea. All you have to do is go in there and get permission, make sure your sewer systems and your water is complete up to that area, make sure you're connected to the sewer and that there's no exposure to workers installing new sewer lines, right? And that you buy temporary toilets and that you actually fit it out with plywood, paint it white, epoxy paint. Let's say you do this on every other floor or in a couple of strategic locations, and then you can finish the bathrooms on every other floor or every other space, and then when you're ready, you can use the permanent bathrooms if the owner allows you to, and I don't know why they wouldn't, and then decommission the temporary bathrooms and fit those out and build those out before the end of the project. Now, I know what most of you are saying. You're saying to yourself, I don't want to use the permanent bathrooms for the owner. Okay, fine. Then here's all you got to do. You decommission those bathrooms after you protect the floor. You decommission those bathrooms in just enough time to install the toilet partitions and the permanent fixtures and use temporary fixtures in those bathrooms as well. There's a way to do it. There's a way to leapfrog and to build one set of bathrooms, and while you're using the others as temp bathrooms, and then decommission this one and flip-flop and switch them in a way that you leave yourself 2 to 3 weeks at the end of the job to get them back to where they need to be, and you've had bathrooms the entire time for the workers. I promise you there's a way to do it. My preference is always to build them out inside the building with plywood partitions, with a nice mirror, with tables and all the fixings and everything, paint them white, epoxy paint, great lighting, and have doors, temporary doors where you can go in and out. There's good signage, and people respect them, and the workers feel respected. You can also do that with lunch areas inside the building, especially if you have a core and shell. If you have a core and shell building, there's no excuse to not do this. So you can obviously do that. The other thing is, let's get creative. I was thinking the other day, there are ways to get insulated or fairly insulated nice tents for a reasonable amount of money. And you can build temporary partitions, kind of like the aircraft partitions, where they're really fast going up. And we can get some pre-manufactured racks with carriers, with toilet carriers in there, and get bathrooms fitted out. Probably, like I said, here's the challenge: to get one for a $20 to $60 million project. I'm going to challenge you to get this bathroom built for $7,000 to $14,000, and I think we could do it. And I'd like to help you brainstorm and do a little bit of research in your regional area to get these things built, because I think that there are some more effective and cheaper materials, cheaper assemblies, prefabricated assemblies, really effective but cheap toilets, and some really good enclosures that we could use that are fairly well insulated, that could get this done for our workers at a reasonable cost and either break even with using restrooms, Portapotties, or just spend a little bit of more money, not entirely, not twice as much or 3 times as much, but at least break even or just spend a little bit more. But like I said, my preferences are build them out of the actual trailers, or build an independent facility, or build them inside of the building. All of those are viable options that I would encourage you to consider, because the current condition is bathrooms are nasty. They're dirty. They're not cleaned enough. They're not checked by the project management team. There are no hand washing stations. There aren't the normal things that people need. There aren't plungers there for people to unplug them. And we have to do better than this. Even some of the restroom facilities that I've seen at some of these big processing plants or at the mines or these micro processing plants, they don't even have as nice of bathrooms as I would expect. I want good lighting white epoxy paint, enough space, good fixtures. Trust the workers with extra materials like toilet paper and paper towels and things like that. We have to just trust our guys and gals out there that they'll be respectful with these things, because we can't just, live in a sense of scarcity that says that everyone's going to take advantage of us. At some point, we have to start trusting each other. And if we have worker huddles, nice bathrooms, and if we have zero tolerance on the project, and if the project team is close to the workers on site, I promise you, you can trust them with the key things on the project site to allow for extra stock, supplies, self-sustaining systems within these bathrooms. And so my challenge for you would be to find the best solution that you can, and then share that. Do a YouTube video, do a LinkedIn video. Share that with your friends. Submit it for awards. Share it at LCI Congress. Share it on the Lean blog. Do podcasts about it. We need to scale up this information and really get this done, because not only is it the right thing to do, but it's one of the best things that you can do to create a lean culture on your project site. So let's get this done. We are smart enough to figure out how to do this and to do it under budget. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.